when I told some of my friends and colleagues that I was doing a session about survey, they were like, really? A whole session on Zoho Survey? And I was like, are you kidding me, man? Zoho Survey is great. Also, not only am I doing one session, but I'm coming back tomorrow and I'm doing an even longer session on Zoho Survey. So if you feel like you haven't learned enough here, I'm going to cover other things in that session tomorrow that are a little bit more marketing centric. But since we're in the support track, I want to talk about sending surveys to gauge customer happiness. So that's what we're going to focus on today. So first things we're going to talk about, why send surveys. Then we're going to talk about Zoho Desk's built-in features for surveying people after they have filled out a support ticket versus what happens if we turn that off and try to use Zoho Survey to accomplish the same goal, right? What can we do with that? I'll talk a bit about some features in Zoho Survey that might make it a bit more interesting and worthwhile to you. And then finally, we will cover how you deploy surveys using Desk and CRM and the survey product all combined together. And then at the very end, I'll talk about some stuff that's coming soon. So, why send customer surveys? There's a lot of pain points that surveys could help with. One of the very obvious ones for this track would be, oh, I don't know which of my support agents are performing well or not. Another one could be, oh, everyone's getting really mad at us, and instead of just writing an email and complaining, they're going on Google and Yelp, and this is actually really bad because it can impact our business really negatively. Other reasons could be you want to, maybe a more positive reason, you want to follow up with happy customers, you want to ask them for testimonials, you want to ask them for quotes, so you can get more value out of them and use them in your marketing materials. Also, another example could be you want to survey your customers and then take all of that nice juicy information and get it inside Zoho CRM, so that way your sales reps have a lot more context to go off of when they're working the customers. So for all of these problems, surveys can be the solution, right? So one of the things we could do to determine which support agents are performing well, so we could send out surveys and then create a report based on the responses that breaks it down by support rep to show us which ones are performing well. We could actually use a survey tool to kind of route customers to different places. So if they're unhappy with us, then we can route them one place. We could escalate it to, okay, maybe we need to reopen their support ticket, or maybe I need to route them to, oh, I'm sorry you had a bad experience. Here's a coupon for next time. If they're a happy customer, we might want to route them a different way. So I'm going to show you guys a little bit about how Survey has these features built in, where based off of how somebody is feeling and how they respond, you can route them to different places. And then finally, at the end, I'll talk about linking things to CRM. So for example, if you're trying to get the Net Promoter Score, how could you get that into your CRM record so your sales reps have a good idea of who the happiest customers are and who the unhappiest ones are. So these are some of the things I'm going to demo. I'll kind of keep referring back to this slide just to kind of keep us all on the same page of where we're headed. So measuring support performance. So the first option is doing this with Desk's built-in feature. So we're going to look at Zoho Desk first. And when I go into Zoho Desk, if I go to the settings, I can type in customer happiness. Michael briefly talked about this, but this is the built-in happiness rating in Desk. So it's basically just I'm happy, everything's great, I'm neutral, it's okay, or it's bad, I do not like, right? So there's 3 different smileys, and you can customize the question, like how you want to phrase that question. So this will get sent out usually each time somebody finishes a ticket, and presumably the support experience is complete at that point. We can customize more of this too. So this may be hard to read. I'll try and zoom in on some of these things, but you can have a different response for each kind of rating that they will see when they give that rating. You can also have response on their feedback, right? So you can say, thank you, or wow, you just made our day, right? We can also customize these. So I can just use like a different kind of smiley. I can customize the images. I can change it from great to you did a good job, whatever I want to call that, right? So it has some amount of customization built in. And if I keep scrolling down here, I can choose, do I want to do this for every single response? That's a little unhinged, but we give you that option. We can do it when a ticket is closed. Do you want to have the rating question or do you want to show the smileys? We give you control over that. Michael talked about this, but who should it be accessible to? So you might just want to make it more limited instead of anyone on the internet if you find out that somebody is somehow gaming the system. And then you can also, this is probably the most important part, is down at the bottom, you can choose to take actions based off of how somebody rates your support. So you'll see there's this option that says reopen ticket for bad ratings or for all ratings. Usually you would probably just want to leave that for bad ratings. It's like, okay, we need to reopen the ticket, give you more support until this becomes a good experience. You can also choose to notify different people for different ratings. So for instance, notify these agents for bad ratings. This is like the evil field that you use to tell your boss who is not doing well, right? So you can put the boss's name in there and they get to see every ticket that was bad. And then we can also choose for the ticket owners, hey, do we want to make everyone feel nice and happy and get notified for all of their positive ratings? Or do we want to make them feel really bad and only show them the bad ratings? Or we can show them all ratings or no ratings, right? So these are the options that are built in with the Zoho Desk survey thing. So what are the pros and cons of this? The pros, as you can see, it's pretty easy to set up. You know, I basically just type in what I want my question to look like. I upload what I want my smileys to look like if I'm not satisfied with the normal ones. It's also really easy to do things like taking actions off of a response, right? So I can reopen a ticket if it's a bad rating. All I have to do is just click a toggle and that's set up. Now, what are the cons of using this system? One of the cons is that there is only one question you can ask. You only get to ask that one thing. That happy, neutral, bad rating is the only thing that you can learn from this one question. So for that reason, the customization options, how this looks, what questions you're asking, how you're routing people are actually pretty limited. And you can't really like ask for follow-ups, route people to the right place. So what I'm going to propose and demonstrate is, what if we used Zoho Survey instead? Okay, so this is going to be a crash course in Zoho Survey. A lot of the Zoho Survey is really easy to understand, so I'm going to try and not bore you with the basics and just jump to the stuff that's a bit more interesting or challenging, right? So the real quick recap is, why would I want to use Survey instead? There's way more different kinds of question types, and there's the ability to ask multiple questions, period. So what are some of those things? Net Promoter Score. Show of hands, how many people know what the Net Promoter Score is? I'm always curious. Okay. It's a legend has spread far and wide. There's star ratings. There's Likert scales, which is basically a 1 through 5. How likely are you to, or how much do you agree with this? A lot, not at all, that kind of thing. There's also better reports for analyzing sentiment. So if you're having like paragraph questions where somebody can write back like how they felt about things, it'll generate a word cloud report. It's like those things where the really big words are the ones that appear all the time and the smaller words don't appear as often. So that's a way to kind of quickly analyze a whole bunch of reports. So, you know, you could look at a word cloud and see like, oh, when I look at the word cloud sentiment of all the reviews for this one support rep, the biggest word is bad and sucks. That's probably not a good sign. And then we have things like the CSAT calculation or NPS calculation. So if you know what the Net Promoter Score is, part of doing the Net Promoter Score is that after you send out that survey question where people rank you 1 through 10 on how likely they are to recommend you to a friend or colleague, You then have to do a calculation to figure out what percentage of those people are promoters, what percentage are detractors, and figure out basically your overall score. Is your business going to grow or not? So that calculation gets done for you automatically if you're using Zoho Survey. We can also do multi-page surveys and skip questions. I'll show this a bit later. But basically, based on how someone answers, we can control what happens next. And we can do things like randomizing the answer order to reduce the bias. So make sure people aren't just clicking the first option just because they don't want to read all the other ones. So this is just showing the NPS score, the concept of it. You ask people, the question I was just saying, how likely are you to recommend us? And you want a lot of 9s and 10s, not a lot of 1s through 6s. And 7s and 8s, it's kind of just like, they're probably not helping or hurting us. This is a screenshot showing the Likert scale, highly satisfied, highly dissatisfied, that kind of thing. And then this is a screenshot showing the CSAT, or customer satisfaction scores. So those calculations, like I was explaining for the NPS, the CSAT is very similar. Zoho Survey can generate that for any question that has an NPS or a Likert or like a star rating, like the 1 through 5 stars that we see on Amazon. And what's cool about this is besides generating it for those individual questions, let's say you have multiple, like maybe you ask for a star rating in 3 different categories, like the clarity, timeliness, and thoroughness of your support, right? That could be 3 separate categories you want to be ranked in. It will actually generate a CSAT score overall in addition to the CSAT score for each category. So you can basically have this number which allows you to track trends over time. Is my CSAT score going up over time? Is it going down over time? Is it flatlining? What kinds of things can we change that push that number in one direction or another? Okay, so at this point, maybe you're feeling a little more survey curious. And this is where I just want to explain, because people often have questions about how our products are sold and structured, but it's sold as a standalone product called Zoho Survey. But also, if you are paying for one of our suites, such as Marketing Plus, CRM Plus, or Zoho One, then congratulations, you already have access to Zoho Survey. It is included in your subscription. So now that I've gotten through that, let's talk about using Survey and Desk together. So I'm going to jump back over to demo mode here, and let's go to our tickets. So one of the things that we'll want to do is to be able to see a report of all of the responses once we connect Zoho Survey. And so if you're using the Zoho Survey extension for Zoho Desk, then you'll see that there is a module which gets added onto Zoho Desk, and it's called Zoho Survey Report. When you go to this module, you can look at it agent-based or contact-based. So when you look at it agent-based, I could say, all right, David Ingus, let's see this support agent and all of his survey responses. And so this is just going to show me an overall rating across every customer who's rated him. So I can see like a overall customer satisfaction score for how he has been rated. And I could see a more detailed customer satisfaction score for each of these ratings, like timeliness, thoroughness, clarity, these kinds of things. I can also see like an NPS meter. I think because my screen is really zoomed in, it's making it look wonky. But we can see basically all of the answers for this particular agent. So right away, that allows us to check off one of those solutions, which is being able to check in on the performance of individual support reps. So how do we use this thing? Well, I have a screenshot showing you what it looks like when you turn on this extension. So basically, it's an extension, which means you go to the Zoho Marketplace, which has a little icon at the top of your Zoho Desk. It looks like a little shop. And then you search in here. There's a little search bar. Just search for Zoho Survey and then install the extension. Once you have that, what it will do is it'll generate a survey link. So there will be this button that appears inside the extension. You click that and you get a survey link. And once you have that survey link, then you can automate sending out the survey. So how does that work? Basically, you just hit get survey link. It's going to copy it. And then you go back over to Zoho Desk and you go to your email templates. And I've already got one set up. So I will scroll down here and find it. Fill out Zoho survey. You go to your email templates and you just paste it in. That's all you have to do. And so you can just write whatever kind of message you want. So, I wrote, let us know what you thought about the survey or your support experience, and you could have a chance to win a $50 gift card. I pasted my link in here. And what's cool about this link is you may be going, well, why couldn't I just copy paste the link from Zoho survey? This seems like a waste of time. But what it actually does is it copies the link, but it adds in some stuff at the end, which you can kind of see here. There's all this weird question mark Zdesk equals blah, blah, blah. It's merging in data, and so it's able to track who has filled out the survey and populate all that information in Zoho Desk. Was that a time's up or a 10 minutes? Yeah, you can automate sending this out, and then the last step of once you've set up this email template is you add a workflow rule. Whoa, what am I doing? I got to expand this. Okay, you add a workflow rule, which is pretty straightforward. So I, again, have already set this up inside my Zoho Desk account. And there's one called Send Out Zoho Survey. And, it's pretty straightforward. We're just executing this based off of the tickets module. How are we triggering it? We chose field update in this case. And then the criteria, the status of the ticket is closed. And then what is the action that we take? And then we just choose that email template. So once you have all of that set up, then you have this automated way to send out the survey link that's going to track who is the customer that is filling out the survey, who is the support rep on this particular ticket, which ticket was it, and they don't even have to fill any of that out. So you don't have to build your survey with what's your name, what's your email. It's going to track all of that automatically when it sends it using this extension. Pretty cool, right? Okay, so that's one way of doing it, and I'll show you, in case anyone is curious, there is also a more manual way of using this. So if I open up a ticket here, you might not see this at first, but there's a little icon in the upper right corner that has these 3 squares. If you click on that, pops open all of your extensions, and I have the survey extension turned on. And if I want to just add the survey link in my reply to a customer, I want to manually choose when I'm sending it out, then I just click the plus button, and it takes a second, but it will paste in that survey link. And the survey link looks really crazy because it has all this stuff that's tracking them. So you might not want it to look like that, but that's okay because you can just go and edit the link, and you can just make it look a lot more normal, like take our survey, right? And then format your message accordingly. So that's how you use the Desk survey extension. I'm going to zoom back out. And what are the pros and cons of this? I like to be really upfront with you all about the pros and cons of each thing that I show. So the pros, we get to track all that cool stuff I was telling you, which ticket, support agent, customer. We can map a survey to each department, so it's always sending out the same survey, so that way we have consistent results. That's cool. Also, we get the full customization options of building our survey in Zoho Survey, which I'm also going to show you a bit more on in a second. Now, what are the cons? You have to pay for survey separately if you don't already have it or you don't have one of those suites. Requires a little bit more manual setup to get it going, like I was just showing you. And it doesn't show up in the normal customer happiness rating area inside a Desk ticket. So that rating is just not really going to show anything if you're using the survey extension. Also, if you want to do a follow-up where maybe you reopen a ticket for a negative rating, that's going to be challenging too. And what you're going to have to do is write a custom function that triggers from Zoho Survey in order to reopen the ticket. So you can have much more detailed and interesting surveys, but if some of those things are super important to you, you may just want to stick with Desk's built-in customer happiness, like the ability to reopen the ticket automatically. Okay, so we've covered measuring support performance, covered using Survey and Desk together. Now let's take a look at routing customers. So if I open up Zoho Survey here, this is what it looks like. There's a survey builder. I just drag and drop on questions. It's pretty straightforward. But one of the things I want to show you is how do we show or hide questions conditionally. So Survey has this feature called display logic. And there's this little red icon which shows that this question has display logic. So you'll see it says, how could we do better next time? I'm going to open up the display logic. And basically, I can choose to only show this question if we're receiving less than 5 stars in all 3 of those categories, right? Because if they gave us a 5-star across the board, we can't do better next time, right? We aced it. So that gives us the ability to only ask this to the people who need to see that question. And then we have other questions like, do you have some praise you want to share? Are you okay with us sharing your name in a testimonial, right? And these kinds of things we would only want to ask if somebody is really happy with us. So these questions have their own display logic. So, this one, do you have something positive you want to share? That only shows up if our ranking is equal to 5 stars out of 5 on all of the categories, right? So it allows us to quickly route people to different places, but we can even go a step further. And if I go to the survey settings and I go down to the survey end page, we can also route people here. So what do they see when they've finished filling out our survey? And there's a bunch of different options. So by default, it's just going to take you to this like Zoho Survey branded thank you page. We could show them a summary of the responses. If we're doing like a poll or something, we might want to do that. We can take them to a merged document, which is really cool. You can merge data from a survey into like a document that somebody needs to look at. But also there's redirect to a new page. And this is really, really powerful because now what we can do is, okay, somebody had a bad experience. Well, we can have a page set up that gives them a coupon code, right? Or we can have a page set up that offers them something. Or if somebody's really happy and we send out that survey, we find out they love us, then we can have a different page that those people get routed to that maybe says, hey, thank you so much. It would really help us out if you left us a review on Yelp, right? So we can start funneling the positive people to the public review sites, and the negative people we can start funneling back to support, or here's a coupon, ways to kind of take the edge off of why they might be unhappy with us. So there is a Survey CRM integration. Once you turn that on, then this will be kind of similar to the Desk thing. It's going to feel like deja vu. We can go to the email templates inside Zoho CRM. And I've already made this one. Send out a customer survey. Wow, look at this. Beautiful. What it's going to let me do, I'm going to edit this. Once I have that integration, is I can click on like a button, and this button has a link. And normally when you add a link inside like an email template, it's just like, okay, it's a web URL, and then you paste in like some page from your website, right? But once we've turned on the survey integration, then we'll see an option here that says Zoho Survey. So I can just click that, and then I choose a survey. So I'm just going to choose this one we've been showing you so far. And then it's going to generate that survey link, and then I can just save it. And the beauty of doing this in an email template is that now from CRM, I can automate something. It'll send out a survey. So let's say maybe every time a deal gets marked as closed, we send out a survey and ask that customer, how was it working with us, right? Or we wait a week and then ask them. And that link is going to have all the information about them that we have saved in the CRM, and it's going to track it. So it's going to know as soon as they fill it out that it was that person who filled out the survey. So we don't have to ask them to re-enter their email or anything like that, but it will track it back to their record. So then what we could do is if we're inside Zoho CRM, let's see, here's one that I know will have a survey on it. Once they've filled it out, there will be a survey-related list in CRM. So when I'm looking at a contact, Zoho survey will show up on the left side, and there will be a little 1 icon if they filled out 1 survey, 2 for 2, etc., right? And I can see their survey, I can see what they, when they responded, and I can also view the response. So I can come in here, I can see how they ranked us for every single category. So that's a lot of information, a lot of context that you can give to a salesperson to help understand what is that customer's mindset. And then also, the survey can show up as a sales signal. So this little bell thing at the top, you can have that show up each time a customer fills out your survey. So if you're a sales rep, you can not only have that information there, but you can get a notification like, oh, I should go see what this person said about us.